Hello and welcome to Enter the Dragonair's Den, the official podcast of the Battle Frontier. And I got a new bicycle. I am TacoDog8.
You're such a proud dad right now.
I am.
And I'm JetForceGemini.
And if you're new around here, welcome. This is our third time doing a video style podcast. So hopefully we're still working out some bugs and glitches in here. But if you're not new around here, unfortunately, friends, it's that time where we are in the final weeks, where a lot of teams actually are going to be in the final weeks of their first ever cycle in the Battle Frontier. We've seen some highs, the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, and some of us have been dragged kicking and screaming across the finish line, but for almost everybody, we're there, with the exception of a few select teams from the pools. Remember, primarily we're going to be talking about North America, EMEA, APAC, and LATAM. We're not going to forget about you because y'all deserve some love too for your hard work and amazing battles. And yes, so with that, I actually have to pull up the announcement. So we're just going to jump right into the Battle Frontier news because it's like hot off the presses, announced at the time of recording 3.5 hours ago. So
just one of them reminder goodies. Nothing actually new, but just in case you forgot between when we talked about it last and now, here's how this works.
Well, the last time we talked about it, we didn't have a video format. But because it was so hot off the presses, I wasn't able to make a nice little picture announcement. So yeah, I'm just going to have to read it to y'all because if you're like me, and you have the reading comprehension skills of a potato, these questions are going to be asked. And that's okay, because I didn't even know. All right, so here is the Battle Frontier playoff schedule. And I'm going to read for it verbatim. I'm going to do my best to paraphrase, but it's probably going to sound boring, It's like ask popcorn reading. So as EMEA, LATAM, and NA catch up to APAC and enter the final week of the group stage bouts, the referees want to set out the plans for the open tier playoffs. All 4 regions are going to be having a 4-week playoff cycle, which is planned to run concurrently. They will have a 1-week break after going from the group stage to allow basically the staff to double check to make sure that everybody who's in the playoffs, quote unquote, deserves to be there, just to make sure the head-to-heads match up, the win-losses match up, and the points match up. If it is found that there's a tiebreaker for whatever reason, there's going to be what's called a wild card for seeding. These bouts are going to take place at the beginning of, so in my local time, it's Tuesday, April 2nd at 8 o'clock. That's going to be that week. And then the official playoffs will begin April the 9th or April the 10th if you're in the future. In this case, because the first bout of the playoffs will also be extended 2 weeks due to the European Intercontinental Championships and the Orlando Regional. That's going to be a very busy day for the Play Pokemon segment that we will get to in the second half of the show. They don't plan to extend the bouts in this way, but that could be what I think is a very fair compromise for the first week of the playoffs, because we want to make sure everybody is putting their best foot forward in Play Pokemon if you're trying to get championship points to qualify to Hawaii, and put your best foot forward in the Battle Frontier, because this is just my unbiased opinion here. I like Battle Frontier more than Play Pokemon. I'm just saying each have their pros and their cons, but
Yeah.
So bout 1 is going to be, or wild cards will be the week of Tuesday, April 2nd. If there is a wild card, if there's not, bout 1 will start April 9th. Playoff week 2 is April 16th. Playoff week 3 is April 23rd. And playoff week 4 is April 30th. That will be the final week for all participants. And then we go on a break. Well, Battle Frontier will go on a break so that people can recruit, kick out, or, leave on good terms with teams. And then Cycle 3's announcement will be made after that. With, however, that being said, I can't find it where it happened last time. Oh, here it is. Shortly above that, there was a criteria to determine seeding. Teams ranked first by their finish in the pool play okay, so teams are going to be ranked first by their finish within the pool, first, second, third, second by fewest bout losses, and then third by pool, play, battle, win-loss percentage. I don't know what that means. I should probably ask. I'm going to ask those questions so that we have it concrete information for the next time going in. As previously stated, the qualifiers for APAC are going to be top three teams from each pool, which is 18 teams. In the Europe, Middle East, Africa region, or EMEA, the top 4 teams from each pool, plus the four highest fifth place ranked teams, like the wildcard spots. LATAM is going to have the same thing. They're going to have 24 teams in total. And then North America, because we've already had our section, they're just going to do top 2 teams. So if you're in third place and you have a shot at taking second place away from your pool, give it your best shot. Even if you think you're at an insurmountable, advantage from second to third, don't fret. You might be facing the second place team, and if you beat them, you can jump that spot. Or if you beat them bad enough, you can beat them, and you'll have the same record, but then you'll have more points than them. And if you have the same record or the same amount of wins after that, well, you have the head-to-head on that advantage. So it's a lot of information to kind of what's the word? To kind of digest. So just simply put, do your best. If you're a number one.
And the nice thing, at least for North America, is like all the stuff about wildcard doesn't even pertain. It's just go for top 2. If you're not top 2, then have fun.
Yeah, this is true. So run some wild stuff, please. We love to see it. I remember the final week of Sylph Factions ever, or before King of the Hill, we had our Master League specialist run a level 50 Rowlet and win. That was absolutely wild. Yeah,
I played Master League that week. It was a good time.
You played Mono Dragon, and your opponent brought, I think it was.
I think it was like one of the Lance lineups from Heart Gold, Soul Silver, like the dojo where you could go and do the rematches.
Oh, okay. I had a feeling that looked familiar.
Mega Altaria in there. It was a good time.
I had a feeling that team did look a little bit familiar, and it was really awesome to watch. So there's that. This Saturday, when this episode goes live, there's going to be Groudon Raid Day, and it'll be a very special person in our local community's birthday. His favorite Pokemon is not Groudon, but he really wants to go raiding, so as a birthday present, we're going to go out raiding with him. Send help, please.
I mean, that's fun at least. And just based on how many people showed up in my local area for Kyogre, like it seems like people are enjoying it.
I felt so bad because I remember saying, I'm going to send invites out. And then at the first raid for Kyogre, we had 3 lobbies of 20.
To be fair, that's a good problem to have, right? Like it's not an easy raid, and that I think is the tricky part to balance. Like they clearly learned something from their previous high priority raid days, right? To just extending remotes to 20 versus whatever they've been doing in the past 10, I think was what they were looking at for some of the other ones, but they knew this is going to be a little bit more popular, so that was nice. And I think my only real disappointment with the whole thing is that they don't have their signature moves for some reason.
Yeah, that was a very, very odd deal to have. I did receive,
especially since it's like an event. It's like, if you're going to go out of your way to do that and have them available, first off, like, why is Regice around? Like, that is also strange. I guess something to do with weather week, right? But I didn't understand why it was even well, like, can we be done with Reggies now, please?
No, absolutely not. We're gonna do some more.
Can we like, especially right, like we did just have Sinnoh Tour. Can we be done?
we got a bunch of candy from that. So for the event, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I got 4 shinies from the event, and then I plus the shiny cast form. So
yeah, I got 2 shiny cats for him this past week also.
We did an absurd number of raids. And I still don't have enough to fix that 14 attack Kyogre that I did. I think I came about 50 rare candy XL short. Find out. And yeah, 54 candy to be precise. But Primal Kyogre, I think it's lost a step or two because it's going to be double super effective against water types, and it's outclassed by Landorus in the Master League. So part of me kind of wonders, is it worth?
Oh, are we talking about Groudon?
Yeah, I was shifting to Groudon.
Okay.
So I think there'll still be people to go out to raid it for the primal energy and get like 90 primal energy per raid, which I'm totally not angry about. But at the same time, do people still use Groudon in the Master League? I've only played in the Master League for like a week, and I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's in a bit of a weird spot right now, I think. But some people have it built, so I feel like that is kind of the driving factor for some players, is just like, do they actually have the XLs to max it out in the first place? So it's a creative limitation in that way, I suspect. And I wanted actually to chat briefly just about Mega and Primal raids in general, because I figured you might know the answer to this. I totally forgot to like pay better attention to it, but I noticed, and this has always been a thing, but I'm not sure where it's coming from, that for Mega and Primal raids, you get fewer balls to catch with.
Yes, you do. Even with the best friend bonus.
Yeah, and I'm just like, why do we get like 5 fewer balls for this? Like, it feels like we have a whole category less of whatever the earning potential is on those. Like I was like, which line of the catch screen is missing?
Well, there's the base there's the base, and then there's the friendship, and then there's the damage, and then there's the time factor, right?
Yeah.
But that usually, like for legendary raids, that usually gives up to 17, 18 balls if like you're doing best friend. I don't know if they do the gym control anymore, but like best friend, time, gym control. Okay, so best friend, time, damage.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Like, do they just not take gym control into effect? Because like that could be an extra ball.
The one that like sounds the most likely is time, that just gets converted to the energy instead of giving you like the bonus balls. And maybe we can figure it out like after the break or something. But I was just like, especially when it is effectively a legendary Pokemon that you're catching at the end, it feels weird that there's that disconnect, especially for what is like usually a 2 like double difficulty raid.
Right. Now I'm actually going to be looking this up while we're doing it.
Well,
this isn't old. This isn't a very old thing. So yeah, this is going to be a time for the break.
Yeah, no, we can figure it out later, and someone can be yelling at me. But it was just one of those like, why do we start with 14 instead of 20 or whatever it is that we normally get?
I was doing 12, or I was averaging about 12, 13. I guess I wasn't doing enough damage.
Well, yeah, and especially if you have 20, like that can be a pretty big difference maker.
I may or may not have been using suboptimal counters like level 5 Pidgeys and level 20 Pikachus.
As long as you were sneaking your buddy into 3 raids just for some battle credit, then it's all good.
Definitely was, and my cart, and because I'm at level 47 now, and I have to earn 300 hearts with my buddy.
There you go.
I'm on a 2-month ban from this game, or from leveling up in this game. So I'm just gonna grind a whole bunch of XP. And
Speaking of, it looked like I also saw that we got the rest of the masterwork research revealed, and it's just so underwhelming.
it's like steps 1 and I think it's step 1 and step 2 is like you have these terrible pillars that are super high, and then like 4 and 5 is like me. Here you go.
Right, yeah. Yeah, you have the time wall step 2 and 3. You have the step 1 that's just frustrating depending on like what your local spawns are. Because like almost without fail you're going to be missing a single generation of Pokemon you need to be catching, and and then the rest are just like throwaways. It feels like they're like, okay, well, now you've done enough.
Yeah, I need to what's the word? I need to get my Johto one down, and then I can hit step 2. I'm at like
well, exactly, and that's been the hardest one to catch, because you either need like Windy Boost to be getting Ledyba and Yanma spawns, or
I mean, it's windy here, and we haven't seen that much Ladybug, sadly. But if only Niantic would give us a freaking community day of a Johto, like a Johto Classic mod, maybe Mari. Do it again, and because like I think Mari, Swinub, of course the starters, and Blissey, which you can't even really count because reasons. It had a Chansey community day, so me.
I mean, wild Blissey is occasionally a thing, but yeah, it's like on my nearby right now, Fampi, I guess, would count. That is one of the few other Gen 2s I've seen kicking.
On my nearby, I have a single Wooper.
Oh yeah, Wooper. Of course.
Paldean Wooper. Well, I think Paldean Wooper counts.
Yeah, any of the variants that just originate in a generation count for their first appearance.
Yeah, especially me I'm going to be riding my bike more from home to work, and so I'll be catching as many things as I can on the route. And I just made a new route. I call it the home route, and it goes from the park that I'm like super close at. It's like a block away, all the way to the other park that's a block away, or like right across the street from my job. So it's just like park to park. Hopefully it gets approved, because I put all the buzzwords that Niantic likes, Pokestops, scenic, seasonal, all that fun jazz.
Yeah, I have been really bad about doing routes. Like even when I was out for community day in an area that I knew had routes, did not do a route that day.
That's okay. We have we have 2 community day routes. One is like you go around and then you take a right. The other one is you go around and you just make a giant loop. That's the only difference. Is like you cut out 6 or 7 or I think it's 5 or 6 Pokestops, but like you get more distance, so route spawns go burr.
Yeah, and maybe that is part of the advantage, is if you just are in a place that spawns are weak, then that really can just increase your upper limit. But yeah, I was not hurting for spawns, so it's just, yeah. I should get, like, as soon as I got done with the Mateo research thing, I don't think I've done a route.
I still want to do routes to get my Zygarde up to, so I have enough cells so that when Zygarde comes back and I can get like a perfect, I can be like, oh, perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Complete. But I'm still hanging on to, when GoFest comes out, Solgaleo and Lunala are going to be in the tier 5 raids. It's gonna happen. I'm calling it now.
I'm gonna be really surprised with how like close to the vest they kept the Cosmog stuff, but I think the Duskmane stuff makes more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Where we just get the
that's right.
the fusion mons.
Necrozma exists.
Yeah.
I forgot.
But we'll see, obviously, and they want money, so they'll do something for the money.
They'll do anything for the money.
Yeah, and we'll get a decent sneak peek by June, right? Because that's when the first Go Fest is.
Yes. Oops.
So we just have to get through this nothing season to just find something fun.
Yeah, that's not something I'm super happy about. But
hey, we got oh man, it's just like, what was our last new like real legendary Pokemon? Because the doesn't count because that was a single day. What did you say?
Was it
Ultra
the Ultra
Beast?
Beast last? No, they came out in 22.
Anyway, it's been a
Yeah,
minute.
it's hard. Like, you can't just. Yeah, no, you're right. There's hasn't been a new one since 2022. Of course, someone's gonna, what's the word? Kind of smack me around in the comments, be like, Taco, actually, on this day at this time, when the sun was at this level in the sky, this Ultra Beast or legendary Pokemon came out. And before everybody starts, I know an Ultra Beast is not the same as a legendary Pokemon, according to Pokemon Go. But at the same time, nah. I didn't play Gen 7. I thought it was a trash generation.
And I skipped 6 and 7 just because of console, but the point being, it would be nice to be excited about some raids and not just like a raid day, but an actual raid rotation that's new. Would be great. Especially since we have 2 free passes every day this season.
I was also gonna say we can't even get excited about the Gen 8 raid bosses because like Zamazenta and Zacian already came. Unless,
we get Eternatus at some point, and we get. Weren't there other Gen 8 legendaries? I feel like I've forgotten a lot of Gen 8 stuff now that we've been in Gen 9 for a while. Oh yeah, Urshifu.
Oh yeah, Calyrex.
And Calyrex. The horses.
Well, do we count Legends Arceus as a Gen 8 legendary? Like, in that one? Because then I'd count Enamorus. Or should we count?
You couldn't bring it over, right? Until Gen 9?
Correct. Yeah.
So I'm gonna say that's probably where I'd put it, but
okay. It's a very valid question because like it came out, Legends Arceus came out during that Gen 8, Gen 9, but it's technically classified as a Gen 8 Pokemon, but you couldn't play with it until Gen 9 home access came out. So yeah.
I also like how Melmetal still doesn't really have a gen.
It's just there.
It sort of like they gave it a number, but they just refused to put it in with.
It exists. My headcanon with Melmetal is somebody just screwed up the code, and rather than it spitting out a missing node type thing, it just created this thing, and they go Meltan, and Melmetal.
Yeah, I think they made the most of a awkward situation, and I'm not mad about it.
Same. We got a new Pokemon, and They got us to use the Pokemon Home or the Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee at the time. Does anybody still play that game?
Maybe.
It was like, I have it, but if I want a box, I'll just send a couple of Pokemon to Pokemon Home from Go, and then send them up into the Wonder Trade to be, I'm not going to release their own Pokemon. I'm going to just send them up.
Yeah.
All right. I think we segued a little bit, though, because we also forgot to talk about the Rocket Takeover event.
I mean, we alluded to it with Groudon conversation.
True. So, if you're like me, you are terrible with TMing frustration away from your Pokemon. March 27th, mark it on your calendars. Frustration can be TM'd away until the end of the month. So, do it, please. Or don't. Just, purify the Pokemon and play it the way that the developers intended. Because Shadow Pokemon, insert and hold, you got your bingo cards out. Shadow Pokemon is a dumb and stupid mechanic, and I hate it so much. Alright, bingo card over.
I'm excited about one Pokemon that's in my frustration list right now.
Oh, there is a Shadow Pidgeot coming, apparently.
Oh, yeah. I do remember they kind of had the preview stuff from, I think it was just like data mine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, there's that. But you know what you should do? You should just purify all the Pokemon you get, because they get a little sparkly aura around it. But Taco, Shadow Pokemon perform better in the battles. Well, you're no better than Team Rocket, so there. Alright. That's my grandstanding.
That's that. And yeah, even stalling that much, we still don't have meta usage, so I'm gonna tell a story.
Story time, yeah!
About a Pokemon that, as far as I know, was not on the meta usage list, but is just such a perfect example of a Pokemon that got kind of a surreptitious update that didn't even occur to me until I saw it on my opponent's team. And it made so much sense as soon as I saw it. So the Pokemon in question is none other than Duat. And I feel okay revealing Duat as a menace because, by the time this video is live, battles will probably already be done, or at very least it won't be a surprise, right? So I saw it and my first thought is, oh, now I need to double check what its moves are. And of course it's got Aqua Tail and X Scissor. And so it's just, yep, yeah, it's about what I suspected. It's just a more consistent Samurott. And the thing does work in Serene. Apart from having to keep it away from Azumarill.
So
it's a nice little niche for it, and it just came out of nowhere. It was, and I love those kinds of picks.
So fun fact, I have the meta usage chart pulled up because it hasn't been updated, but just in case, Duat is nowhere on the list.
I am not. Why would I I actually want to go and check where it's even sitting on the rankings.
Wait, no, I found it. It is sitting at 0.13% in in Serene. So there it is.
Yeah, so it's at 51 overall, which puts it down with
Drampa, Wailmer, Vaporeon.
It's right after Conkeldurr and before regular Quagsire.
Oh, you're talking about PV Poke.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the usage chart.
Yeah.
Yeah, it shows
we were dividing and conquering.
It shows usage with Ferret, Lopunny, Alomomola,
There you go.
Canto-Raticate, Vaporeon, Wailmer, and Drampa. I think Furret might come up a bit more because of its new buff Thick Break, but that's a stretch. That's a very, very large stretch.
Some people really like Furret. Like it, I think it was mostly from the Devon meta, maybe, that people were kind of going hard with the Furret love recently, but
oh yeah, I forgot. Single that Devon came out. And that's not a stab at the Devon folks. I'm just having a lot more fun in team-based PvP rather than single-player PvP, which is fine. If that's your forte, by all means, have fun with it.
right, like, yeah, and enjoy where you're playing. I think that's where it's been the most relevant recently.
That's fair.
And
Nice.
then just a quick amendment to my Furfur comments from last week is that I do have to give it the nod for being a just firm non-ground type wall to Alolan Raichu. Like, that it became super relevant as well in my matchup, and it's just like, okay, well, I have to take a step back. It does do some things really well and consistently, but in the heads up, especially against the other normal types that are competing for the slot, I felt it's still not quite there, but there are a few matchups where it's actually really nice.
Yeah, because this was brought up in the Battle Frontier server a little bit. We just got outplayed, pretty hard.
We're gonna jump into that.
Oh, we're not gonna do a play-by-play, but you'll look at the other scores around that area, and then there's our score that just stands out. So
I'm proud of my point that I brought in.
Yeah, you brought in 20% of the points.
It was 50% of the points until Zimmy played.
Yeah, it was. Oh, GG's to the nerdy birds. That's the closest that we've come to fighting brave nerds, and for good reason. I don't want to do it again anytime soon.
I feel the opposite. I want to have the revenge match, but it is what it is. We'll have to catch up now.
We need to not be relegated. Personally.
Yeah, and then there's that.
So, with that though, let's move on to some pools. And I made this slideshow for everybody. It's like I'm showing it to the class. Look at me. Look at my macaroni sculpture. All right, bam. Look at that. Pool number one. Pool number one with the standings right there. And it's going to go on a timer, so it's going to be 5 minutes. So we can hit on some ones, or I can just go back and manually change it. But, it's there now. Anyway, pool number one. Ann Arbor Arbok defeated BTW Trez. Premier Raids defeats Caesar Productions. Inferno Overdrive stays undefeated against A9 Elites, and Wicked Weavile just beat the bye 14-7. If you look at the stand, I feel so bad in saying this, but if you look at the standings, the bye is ahead of Caesar Productions by 14 points. I wish I was making that up. Oops.
Well, and that was something we talked about at the beginning, right? Is obviously it's a little weird that the bye is getting any points, but
the bye gets 7 points. But yeah, so it's, I think Caesar Productions or Kaiser Productions. I'm going to get yelled at you depending on how you say it. I think this might have been Caesar's first time jumping into the bye week, or jumping into, not the bye week, but jumping into faction, so this is them getting their feet wet. And, not everybody's just going to, come out of the gate swinging, instant double promotion, Sometimes it takes a cycle or two to get your feet wet. I mean, look at Hammerheads. We're going to pick on y'all, Hammerheads. Y'all lost every single match in pools, and then you ended up in a higher tier than Dinair Don't Care and Fierce, and like the people that beat you in pools. So with that being said, though, anything can happen on any given week. But that does set up a nice, I think A9 Elites is fighting Ann Arbor. No, Inferno Overdrive is fighting Ann Arbor. A9 Elites draws Wicked Weaviles. I'm just gonna let you know right now, the top 3 can look very, very different, and Wicked Weaviles can play spoiler. I'm excited.
I don't know about that, but I'm most impressed just by Inferno Overdrive getting through their first hurdle of the end of their cycle. Like they had a really tough last 2 weeks to stare down, but came through on the first one.
Yep. Now their second one, they get Ann Arbor Arbok, who's currently in third. And depending on how it goes, obviously Inferno Overdrive has an almost 20-point lead over everybody. I could say that they locked up at least one of the slots, but like A9 Elites, Ann Arbor Arbok, and Wicked Weaviles are going to be fighting for that second spot, and it is so. If Ann Arbor Arbok wins, then they get the what's the word? They get the second spot because they have they have 13 points over Wicked Weaviles and they have 11 points over A9 Elites. So I think we can call Inferno Overdrive and Ann Arbor Arbok getting the top 2 spots. Probably the safest bet.
It is a little tricky just because they are playing each other this week. So.
Right, but I'm saying like Inferno Overdrive doesn't really have anything to play for.
Yeah, they have best record no matter what.
They'll have best record, and they may have most points. If they take their foot off the gas and still put up, like, let's say 9 points, they'll still be at an insurmountable spot. Whereas Ann Arbor Arbok has to score at least 7 points to catch up to Inferno Overdrive, and those couple of points is it really going to make that big of a difference? I guess what I'm saying is if Ann Arbor wins against Inferno Overdrive, then that's going to be the top 2 no matter what.
If A9 wins, they're going to have a better record overall.
It switched, right. As soon as I looked at it, it switched. Get back here.
Because they're chilling a whole win ahead, so.
Oh yeah, you're right. But A9 has Wicked Weaviles. Yeah, Wicked Weaviles can play spoiler, and I love chaos. So Wicked Weaviles, please win, please win. I have faith in y'all. I don't know who the captain is at this time, but please win.
How did Wicked Weaviles do against the other 2? They did beat Ann Arbor Arbok round 1, so not impossible.
They beat Ann Arbor Arbok, and that was their first loss. Their second loss was to where are you? Beginner to Winter Trez. So
I will go on record saying though, I feel terrible for whatever open, like if Ann Arbor has to play open again. I feel really bad for whoever else is in that pool with them.
We're gonna have a Roslark bow type thing, or like maybe 20-1 or 21-0.
It's a massacre.
It's not gonna be pretty. It's
waiting to happen. But to be fair, like it is gonna be a bit of a squeeze on most of these pools for only 2 teams getting out of them. So
I was looking at this a little earlier. There is a certain team and a certain pool that is actually in danger of not making it out of staying in open.
well, I assume we'll talk about them when we get to them.
We will. They're in a pool, so
Cool.
all right. Oh, come on. There we go. All right, let's move on into pool number 2. There we go. So, Queen Bees defeat the Collective. SoCal Swablu Gold cruises against Dancing Dittos. The Bad Batch defeats Cleveland S Cavaliers, and Cool Cats is once again cruising against Scissor Me Timbers. Standings, we got Cool Cats at number 1, SoCal number 2, Northeast Battlers number 3, and Scissor Me Timbers number 4. But the Dancing Dittos are right there. Who's playing who this week? I gotta see now.
Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, tell
So
me.
we have Dancing Dittos playing Scissor Me Timbers, the Queen Bees playing NEB, the Collective is playing SoCal Swablu Gold, and Cleveland Escavaliers are playing Cool Cats. So I'm gonna say this pool's kind of done.
Yeah, aside from the Cool Cats dropping one for whatever reason, and SoCal Swablu losing to the Collective, which I don't think is going to happen.
Well, it's like, okay, yeah, the top 2 teams are literally playing the bottom 2 teams.
So
this is not very climactic, I'm gonna say.
Unfortunate. I'm trying to like hype up this pool.
there's plenty to hype up elsewhere. This is one of the chiller ones.
Yeah, it's like I said. It's just I'm sorry, guys. You know, you got Cool Cats, you got Gold, you got the Queen Bees. The Dancing Dittos was a surprising team for me. I didn't have them on my radar at all, and then I saw that they got some really good wins. And I don't remember if Scissor Me Timbers was on, if they were a self team or not. I'm sure MJ will probably correct me if we ever bring him back.
I mean, if you want to call something out, like this is another pool where potentially there's a spoiler spot just on a technicality, but
I'm listening. Oh, you mean like
I'm just saying, like, NEB has the potential to tie up the score, but yeah.
Okay.
Again, it's a reach, but it is technically there.
Gotcha. All right, let's move on into pool number 3. That was the fastest we've done. All right, so Dark Knight.
We don't have to overburden the places that can just be done.
Yeah. So the Dark Knight defeats the Sweaty PVs in pool 3. Dunspice defeats Shadow Riders. That was an upset. SoCal Swallow defeats Team Flareon, and then Pogoats cruised against Pallet Town Red. Yes, the score is not complete and there for whatever reason. It still wasn't complete, so I guess the battle just didn't get done or something.
Oh, interesting.
But, you know, I'm not going to worry too much about it. I did the squiggly little graphs and stuff yesterday. It's okay. So, top 2. Barring a miracle, and when I say a miracle, I'm not like trying to hype up the Dark Knight in any way, shape, or form. But barring a miracle, this one looks like a Pogoats SoCal Swallow Coastal 1-2. Which I feel really, really bad for. I feel for the Dark Knight team. They started out 0-2, and they have not dropped a single match since losing to Pogoats and Shadow Riders.
Yeah, and I mean, like, the tough part is you have what would otherwise be a relevant matchup, right? Because they play Coastal this week, and the only problem is that they're already 15 points behind.
So, in order for that to happen, they essentially have to win 19-2 or 18-3, which for a team as talented as Coastal,
and then they would be tied. So
they'd be tied, and then there would have to be a head-to-head, or the head-to-head. The Dark Knight would get the bump. So,
yep.
I don't know what Athena is gonna do to rally the troops to like rattle off those wins without getting too like hypey or like hype man-esque. I know they can do it.
Well, and I think the real struggle maybe is just like putting on a good show this week, period, because it's very likely the Shadow Riders take over third.
Oh shoot. Yeah.
Because we didn't really say, but Shadow Riders are playing Palatine Red. Sweaty PvP EVs playing Ghost Pepper Dunspice, and Team Flareon are playing Pogoats.
Yeah, so Pogoats wrap up this one.
Yeah, not worried about Pogoats.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah, this was gonna be fighting for second place. Sweaty PVs have been averaging 6 points a week, and the fact that they got 2 more points against the Dark Knight is a little telling. But maybe that it's finally gotten to the point where it's towards the end of the bout, but they finally got their cohesion working, and so they're able to get those points, which is really good. Like, hats off to them.
They did put up the 8 points against Team Flareon as well. So it was 1 point loss to Palatine Red in round 2. So they've been right there with some of these teams.
Yeah. So, Dark Knight, I feel for you. I wish you the best of luck, and you can rattle off those 3-0s.
Yeah, and like have the sweaty battles. Like, just go for it.
Just do what Nerdy Birds did to us, and just show up and outplay at every single turn. I believe that was a really depressing battle.
and like, I mean, we'll take a second to talk about it just again, but like the fact that we were all done battling by like Friday was also unusual, where it's just like it was instant. It was just done.
I was like, I look at it and I go, all right, so it's I think the score was like, all right, it's 10-2. Okay, we just need some 3-0s. Oh, it's 13-2. Okay,
we just need to like at least get a respectable lot. Nope.
Nope, wasn't gonna happen.
All right, pool 4.
Pool 4. Anger Synchronize defeats NEP Legends. Bad Mewtwo's defeats Blouses. SoCal Swablu Blue gets the bye, and then NMPVP also gets a bye.
They get the other bye.
So in this one, who are Blouses playing this week? Do they have a bye?
Yes.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so they're going to get an automatic 14 points. We're going to do some math.
This is where the double bye is weird. So does N Synchronize, so they move up like parallel to each other.
Okay, and then SoCal Swablu Blue gets NMPVP.
So they have to put up 12 points to stay ahead of Blouses.
So Blouses is going to... Yeah, so they have to win by 12. If not, Blouses takes... Well, no. Hold on.
They'll have a better record if they win, period.
Yeah, I was going to say SoCal Swablu has to win.
Yeah.
But if they lose... I mean, it's impossible, though, because they can't lose with 12 points.
Right. So, yeah, they just have to win.
Yeah, so it's a win-in scenario.
Yeah.
And then PvP, I'm rooting for you. Let's go. You got this. You gotta cheer on the little guy.
Think of the tears from the Swablues.
Like I said, my heart goes out to those guys. I think at this point they just refuse to battle with more than 7 people.
It's a bold strategy.
Has it paid off? I'm not sure.
I mean, they're still battling. Like, obviously, it hasn't burned them out, so that should say something, right?
True, and they're averaging 8 points. They're averaging close to 8 points a game, or 8 points a week. So
they're figuring it out.
All right, with that, let's move on to pool 5.
Pool 5.
All right, so in pool 5, we have Bell's Angels defeats Spice's Right. Weekend at Burmese defeats the Bravest Birds. Antimatter Go got the bye, and LU Origins defeats Grievard Underdogs. Looking at the standings, LU Origins has has almost clinched the first round bye. They just have to win. And who are they playing this week? They're playing
Bravest
Okay,
Birds.
so they have clinched.
Well, they're in. At 6-0, they're in no matter what. It's just finding out who the other team is.
Yeah. And then Antimatter Go.
This is a relevant one because Antimatter Go is playing Grievard.
And
so if Grievard wins by 3, they get the second spot.
Yeah, that one's going to be a close one. Weekend at Burmese, I'm sorry, you can be the champions of the open tier next cycle. And unfortunately, there's going to be no Big Mac eating contest here, which we should change that to a chicken nugget eating contest. Big Mac eating contests were done in the Sylph days.
Weekend at Burmese has the same score as Grievard. So if they get the win, they have to win by 2 more than Grievard. They could take the spot.
But they are playing Bell's Angels.
If Grievard also wins,
Bell's Angels is gonna put up a fight, though. That's not gonna change.
I don't know. I just like the ridiculous cascade potential here. Like, this is the first one that actually has 4 teams technically on the line.
Yeah, so this one, I guess you're right. It would come down to all the marbles in this one. LE Origins, we'll talk about you in passing.
Yeah, we'll talk about you in playoffs.
Let's be real here. 2, 3, and 4. This is the content is what we want to see. All right, let's go to pool number 6.
Dice.
All right. So, Snowbirds defeats Charm City Charm. SoCal Swablu San Diego defeats Wing Attack. And then... What the heck? No, go back. Go back. And then Born from Ashes defeated the Algorithm 19-2. So
that was must win for Wing Attack.
Yeah. Can you see the team? This is the pool that had the team that might stay in open.
So wait, what? Oh man. So we know. So Born from Ashes gets one of the buys. Charm City gets the other one. So Born from Ashes gets 14. So to catch them, Wing Attack needs to get they'll be behind. Even if they win, they can't match the score.
No, they can.
No, they're one behind.
All right, so Wing Attack would have 90. So Born from Ashes with their bye,
they go to 6-1. They can't catch up.
Oh shoot, you're right.
So they could beat their score, but their win-loss is impossible to catch.
I was just looking at the score the whole time on this one.
Yeah. Well, and I like you heard it come out of my mouth. I was like, that was must win.
See, I took it as like, oh, it was must win for them, like to at least still have a shot.
No.
But this is all
right. I'm gonna go see who from the San Diego team were the heroes.
Who was the lone sweep?
Ron picks
Ryblit.
up a win against Drade. Nice. Rinker
Oh.
beats Ryblit. Nick beats Mario Master. And Rum beats things cats can't eat. And then the rest were 1-2s the other way. So like no sweeps at all. It was just a classic clash, 11-10 to San Diego.
Dang.
Good job, guys.
Good job. Wow. Okay, so this is going to be one of those. I'm going to feel bad for whichever open teams have to fight against the revenge tour that will be Wing Attack.
Well, yeah, and then okay, so we at least have a scenario where Wing Attack and Ann Arbor could be in the same pool for something like resembling balance, but again, just a massacre against everyone else in there, unless you get maybe beginner to winner thrown in. But
yeah, it's going to be very rough.
We'll see, I guess.
Wing Attack guys, the offer's still open. If you want to fight under the Dean Air banner, give us a call.
Oh man, you guys. But yeah, just to officially say it out loud, we have SoCal Swell Blue San Diego taking on the Algorithm. Charm City gets a bye. Snowbirds playing Wing Attack, and Born from Ashes getting the other bye.
Dang, on a serious note, like I feel for the Wing Attack crew. Like those guys are great battlers, and
they lost by 1 to the other 2 relevant teams, and that's what it came down to.
Yeah, that's on the very rough side. So, Snowbirds, I'm sorry in advance that you have to take the brunt. You're the first stop of the Wing Attack Revenge Tour.
Look. Well, and maybe that's okay. Maybe they'll just be depressed and they'll play all the spice and not worry about it. But we'll be here to tell you the outcome next week.
Yep. Okay. Let's go to pool number 7 now. All right. So finally, we have Team Beginner to Winner defeats the Island Guardians. Elite TMs wins 18-3. PB and Jelly defeats Singapore Dragons, and Wing Attack 2 defeats Electric City.
And I should probably say, when I said Beginner to Winner, I meant the Beginner to Winner Tress team from Pool 1, not this one, because this is locked up.
You know, I will probably say, does Beginner to Winner have like a Beginner to Winner Doe's team? Or did that team just kind of like does it battle somewhere else, like in another region? Because I know Palatown has like Palatown Red and Palatown Blue, and I think Blue fights in the EMEA region, if I'm not mistaken.
I feel like there's at least one other, if not historically 2 other Palatown colors as well, but yeah, possibly they could be an EMEA. I don't remember.
Well, remember, Jet, we did take like did take like some people from this Palatown team and some people from this Palatown team to bring them onto the Dark Knight. So technically, you could say that Palatown and Dean Air have an alliance this cycle.
I mean, don't tell that to Palatown Red.
Palatown Red, you can't have Athena.
based on how that went.
Yeah, no, you can't have Athena.
Yeah. So, at least one of the fun things for week 7 is you get Beginner to Winner playing Elite TMs. You get there can only be one.
There can only be one undefeated.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter who wins because both of them they're playing for respect at this point. Oh,
well,
goodness.
they're playing for seeding still for playoffs, which is important.
Yeah.
And so it points do matter, even if you're in the top 2 for your pool. Where you end up on the next spreadsheet is determined by your points. So
I'm gonna do some math real quick in real time. So we got 40.
No. I'm gonna talk while you do that. And go ahead and go through the other matchups, because this is a pool with not only no double bye, no bye at all. PB and Jelly playing Wing Attack 2, Island Guardians playing Singapore Dragons, and Weedle Knievel playing Electric City.
All right, math over.
Good.
Okay,
good.
So elite TMs are averaging 18 points a game. What is the over under that they continue that streak against beginner to winner?
I don't think it's going to be possible because, beginner to winner, while they are effectively, a whole bout behind on the points, they're still, they're not going quiet.
Well, their beginner winner is also averaging 16 points a game.
Yeah. So they're just, they're being a little bit more respectful, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, you could be right. Like, at the same time, it's like 18 and 16. These two teams are absolutely insane.
Yeah, and this is what the open tier pools are about. This is how you accelerate people into their actual brackets.
Yeah. All right. With that, though, good luck, Elite TMs and Team Beginner and Winner. On when y'all figure out who gets the seeding, you let us know. Okay. So that's pools. Bye, pools. Now we got to move up and to give some love to the rest of the tiers in North America. Primarily the Ace tier, for starters. Bam.
That was my next question, was which end we were starting on.
Oh, I have them, I have the little folders starting from, pools, and it's working its way up. Just so I don't have to scroll up and down so much.
Sure.
Quick side note, I'm super glad that OBS has, this little grouping feature where you can, put things into folders. So I can, just leave it turned on, and then if I wanted to change, what I wanted to see, I could just hit the little eye icon and it hides it. But there's no, what's the word? There's no slideshow on this one, so we are good to just talk at length.
Oh. Oh, no. Oh, this is complicated.
I'm just gonna say what the actual heck is going on in Ace tier, because teams are winning when they're not supposed to be winning, and teams that are losing.
They had 6 teams, so this was rematches across the board. And did they all flip?
Fletch and Arel's Story won, so they're at 4-2. East Caliber.
Thunder Squirrels won the first time they played.
Yes.
So the only repeat, because Decidueye still has no wins, is East Caliber. But the other two matchups flipped. And I think both times in favor of the new winner.
And that leads to this lovely 1-2-3,
all within 4 points.
Okay, so I know that this is Ace tier, but I have to say it. Can y'all pick who's going to take the tier and who the second person that's going to get promoted? My goodness.
Well, so this is again, some of the weirdness about the random rematches is that now the Coastal Kings play Decidueye Dynasty Green, so that feels like the go-ahead for promotion for them.
Mm-hmm.
So even though they're in third right now, Thunder Squirrels and Fletch and Dorella can both technically still win, but they have not Decidueye Dynasty Green, who
has secured relegation.
Yeah. So it's really gonna be on Decidueye Dynasty. I mean, to be fair though, they did play Coastal Kings to 1 in round 2 when they played, And it's not like they've gotten crushed. Like their lowest score is 7
against.
So it's not like the open tier pairings that we were just talking about where they were getting 20-1. That this is still a match. It's still unclear. All 3 of these teams aren't playing each other, so they could all win.
Then it's going to matter of who's going to outdo the other person. And right now, if I'm Coastal Kings, I'm looking at that like, okay, we're in third. We have to try the hardest.
And then it'll also matter who has the heads up. If they also then tie overall score, because they didn't neither Fletch and Dorella or Thunder Squirrels are replaying Coastal Kings, and they both lost to them. So
no, Thunder Squirrels beat Coastal Kings.
Oh no, you're right. I was looking at Fletch and Dorella.
Thunder Squirrels beat Coastal Kings. Coastal Kings beat Fletch and Dorella's story, and Fletch and Dorella's story
beat Thunder Squirrels.
Yeah, so there's our circle of suck there.
No, wait, I am wrong. They did get the replay just this last week. So those 2, Fletch and Dorella and Thunder Squirrels, are actually 1-1. I don't know if the then overall heads up score matters, because that would go Fletch and Dorella. But I think we should probably move on. But this is already going to be one to check back in on. Like it is not done.
No, it's not. You're actually right, because okay, so hear me out, and maybe the Battle Frontier staff may or may not decide to do this in the wild card round. Okay, if there is, so if they have the head-to-head, stop shaking your head. Listen,
I'm just shaking my head because wildcard is already like referring to something else.
Right. But so what I'm thinking,
yeah,
the tier. So I guess before I go any further, I should clarify these tiers. After this week, they're done. Promotion and relegation will take forth from like here to there and this and that.
Yeah, there isn't a playoffs.
Yeah, so Ace tier is going to have a little bit of a. It's a bit of a weird spot to begin with. So, if let's say that it's 1-1, like in this case, and then they have the exact same amount of points. You can't do the head-to-head because the head-to-head's tied, and then they have the exact same points.
Well,
so what I suggest...
No, but their head-to-head points are different, is what I was trying to say.
Okay. So, sorry. I guess I interpreted it as like...
Their overall points could be the same. And so that was my question is that relevant, or is it just the win-loss? Because, I mean, it makes the most sense to me to go to that like as the tertiary like tiebreaker, but man, is that funny.
Like I said, can somebody please just win this tier?
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, so that's Ace tier, and the shenanigans that they have decided to pull. Here's Premier tier. One of these things is... Oh, wait. No, so one of these things... Everyone decided to get blown out this week, with the exception of Switchmasters and Sea Kingpin. So, Fearsome Frostlass defeats Pioneer Valley PvP. Nerdy Birds demolishes Dinair. Switchmasters defeats Sea Kingpin. And the Great Unknown defeats the Gong Rippers. Nerdy Birds has secured their spot for promotion. The Great Unknown and Switchmasters are still fighting for that second promotion spot. And then Fearsome Frostlass and Dinair don't care, taking up 4th and 5th respectively.
In the danger zone.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it the bottom 3 or is it bottom 2 they get relegated?
So because we're at 8, it is just 2.
Okay.
that probably changes next cycle when we go up to 10 in all of the tiers. But yeah,
we will have that information when the staff reveals it to us.
Yeah, when all gets clarified.
At least in this one, so it's really weird though. So like in round 7, we have Nerdy Birds fights the Great Unknown in a 1-2 match. Sea Kingpin has to beat Dean Don't Care. By the way, they're playing each other. A little bit of irony because we've made so many jokes about Sea Kingpin, and now we have to put our money where our mouth is. Not necessarily we, more so like us as the competitors to put the money where our mouth is. And then Pioneer Valley has Switchmasters, and that's a must win for Pioneer Valley, or else they kind of open themselves up to relegation. Gong Rippers, unfortunately, has secured the relegation spot, and Fearsome Frostlass is... I mean, they're also in a must win scenario, yeah. Probably the only team that's sitting nice and pretty is Nerdy Birds and Gong Rippers.
Yep. Everyone else is in limbo a little bit.
Right.
Like there are at least, the 2 through 4 that definitely aren't getting relegated.
Yeah.
But as far as whether they're staying or moving up is question mark.
Yeah, that's going to be on the rougher side. All in all, though, like in this one in particular, there's still a lot left to play, but I feel like aside from Nerdy Birds getting promoted, 2nd through 7th is still up in the air, is up for grabs.
That on one hand, now that I'm looking at it, I'm glad that there were several kind of big wars this week, not just us as an outlier.
I felt really bad, and then I saw the rest of the scores and say, you know what? I don't feel so bad.
Yeah, something was in the air this week, I guess.
We still scored the least amount of points in the tier, but it's okay. We're hailing the copium.
The entire week already set that. Even if we didn't, there were 15s for the first time also. So
yeah,
yeah, something was just a little off.
Yeah. By the way, we do have some breaking news in the Battle Frontier. I'm going to segue over to it.
What happened?
So, by the time this episode goes live, it will be old news, but Tapu Lele is allowed in the Open Master League, but if it uses Nature Madness, you forfeit a game.
Oh, you mean during this week? Because it's a new move. Gotcha.
Yep. So, but with that, Incineroar with Blast Burn and Darkest Lariat is allowed. So have fun in that. Use that information to what you will.
I can use my Shundo.
Stop it. We get it. It's a flex and a half. I got a 14, 15, 15 Incineroar from research. That was my best one, so I'm probably just gonna have to power up that 14, 15, 15.
What was it, shiny?
It was not.
Oh.
It was from the research, the research ticket. So I guess there's one thing that Niantic started doing is instead of giving codes to the community ambassadors. Yeah, I suck with mirror image. Our community, if you checked into our meetup, you got access to a code and didn't have to pay for it. It worked until 2:00, and then right when community started, if you tried to redeem it between 2 and 2:01,
I have relevant information about this.
Do tell.
Because I was out with Emily and we tried to buy the ticket right after 2:00 because we were just going a little late. We played it super casually, and the ticket was just missing from the shop.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So the ticket was gone from the in-game shop and like the online store. I because I was driving, so I was like, oh, you should check the store, I guess, and it was just gone. So I think they did an oops where it was missing for either like 30 minutes to an hour, and then it came back.
Interesting. Okay, because that was on the known issues page, but that part I did not know. I'm gonna bring that to my other community ambassador in our local community, and see if they know anything. But
did we announce all the people who are playing each other in Premiere next week?
Yes, we did.
Okay, cool.
Yes, we did. I was gonna move on into expert tier now.
We completed the tier. Good.
Yes. Segues, news just happens. Yeah.
I'm not panicking about it. I'm gonna have a great week.
Yeah. Same here. Like I said. All right. So here's the expert tier, where Hammerheads defeats TNT Fingals. I am just now realizing that there's not a score for Thunder Fury and iCarly PvP, and now I have to check.
It is updated to 11-10 for iCarly.
Okay. I'm not getting out my little notepad and fixing that. All right, so iCarly defeats Thunder Fury, Phoenix Rising defeats Team Omega Lol, and Rosark Bow.
That was actually their first win. Nice.
God, dang it. I need to adjust the standings too. Anyway. Look, expert tier, you're getting scuffed, so I'm sorry.
It doesn't change our iCarly's placement.
They're 1 and 5. They're still in 8th. They're in a must-win scenario this week to stave off relegation, right? Or have they locked it up?
Who are they? Yeah, I guess it matters who they're playing. Let's check.
They're playing Hammerheads.
And what about the other 2 1 and 5 teams? Slark Paper Scissors is playing Omega Lol.
The loser of that game gets relegated.
Yeah.
Unless iCarly lays an egg. But even then, they're 4 points apart.
It's still the loser of that, plus most likely iCarly.
Okay. And then Thunder Fury has Phoenix Rising, which, although Thunder Fury has kind of staved off relegation at this point, can Phoenix Rising even... in the off chance scenario that Hammerheads loses and Phoenix Rising wins, Phoenix Rising would get promoted. But iCarly PvP needs to beat Hammerheads.
Yeah.
And
well,
was already...
They could play spoiler.
Yeah, at this point, that's all iCarly pretty much is doing, is playing spoiler, which is sad, but it's true.
I don't know. It's fun to be in that position to ruin it for someone else.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's still one of the greatest feelings in the world.
It is a motivator for sure. But yeah, you have to be in the mindset that it's not necessarily for you as much as just like for the domino effect.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, so that's expert tier. Let us move on into the elite tier. Bam. Where Decidueye Dynasty defeats Texas PvP 15-6. Mighty Thunder Ducks defeats the Thunderdome 18-3. Icy Wind defeats the Lucky Mugs 14-7. And Northeast Battlers defeats Canadian Shieldon 11-10.
Little red flag going up here.
That gives us a 4-way tie for first place. What the actual F is going on?
I feel like we have to look at this matchup and see if they were screwing around on some of these picks. First 2 look fine.
Let's see. Northeast Battlers defeated the Canadian Shieldon. Canadian Shieldon was 5-1. Northeast Battlers were 4-2. The Joy Dynasty Black had 1. and then Icy Wind. Okay, so basically what happened was Canadian Shieldon was 5-1. Sorry, not 5-1. It was 4-1 going into this week, and they lost, which allowed Icy Wind, Decidueye Dynasty Black, and Northeast Battlers to get tied up with them. And now they went from having a guaranteed promotion spot to maybe not being considered for promotion now. Because this week, oh wait, Big Dude, I'm sorry for saying this. They have a little bit of a bye week. They play the Thunderdome.
I'm still confused how Mighty Thunderducks swept 5 slots.
They showed up to play. Thunderdome didn't. Or we can use the Brave Nerds D-Nair scenario and say Mighty Thunderducks just outplayed Thunderdome. Migo, when are you getting the keys to that Thunder Kingdom?
Feels weird, man.
Although, round 7 is looking to be very, very, very juicy. Because Decidueye Dynasty Black and Icy Wind are playing. Mighty Thunderducks has Texas PvP. Canadian Shieldon draws Thunderdome, and then Northeast Battlers draws Lucky Mucks. Lucky Mucks has to win to stave off promotion. Thunderducks
relegation.
Relegation. The bad promotion.
The not promotion?
The demotion, that's what we're calling it.
Yeah.
And so in this
promotion.
the opposite of promotion. I can words good. In this case, in this scenario at least, there's a lot that can happen. And I think Canadian Shieldon losing, they had to throw it. They just had to, what's the word? Not throw it, but they made they made second place competitive, because now first and second are up for grabs.
Yeah, another 5-point spread between 4 teams.
Step number 1, win. Step number 2, win more.
Icy Wind and Decidueye are playing. The other 2 are playing other teams, so...
Yeah, so I guess like the main... I mean, I don't want to say Northeast Battlers wraps up promotion, because Lucky Mucks is very good.
Well, and obviously they have a strong reason to win, right? It's like the motivation is there.
Yeah, so in this one also, everyone has also beaten everybody, so I can make a circle of suck that encompasses the entire tier. But I'm not going to do that right now. But I'm not going to do that right now, because we're looking at tiers, and I don't want to burn the midnight oil. All right, so
we have 2 left.
We have 2, then we have the break, and then we call it an episode. But we're blazing today. All right, champion tier. All right, so if you look, I made a little doodle at what the score was at the time. It has since been updated. I think it's like 4th. I can't math, but I'm not doing it.
Oh, yeah. 15-6.
Okay, I was going to say, at the time, it was 12-3. And I said, you know what? I'm putting Utter Madness winning. They have 12, so I don't care how many points they have after that. But I made a doodle, so show who wins. Anyway,
good job.
In this instance, Homeslice Homies defeats Brave Nerds 11-10. Evan Stonks defeated Backstage Battlers. Utter Madness defeated Muddy Water, and then finally, Barktown Boomers defeated Hoosier Daddies. I don't care what you say about Hoosier Daddies, the fact that they upset somebody last week was incredible. And the Barktown Boomers had to be like, we're gonna win because we don't want to be in 8th place anymore.
Brave Nerds are in kind of a weird spot.
Yeah, I try not to look at that. But let's be real here. The competition.
I just mean they are playing Muddy Water, and they got a win, so not being the bottom two.
Well, who is Barktown and Hoosier playing?
Barktown is playing Home Slice, and
Hoosier is playing
Evan Stonks.
You know what? The standings are also not updated, so let me give you the proper standings. Utter Madness is number 1. Muddy Water is 2. Evan Stonks, Backstage, Home Slice are tied for 3rd. And then Brave Nerds, Barktown, and Hoosier down and are tied for last, or 4th, excuse me. So in this case, Hoosier has to beat Evan. Barktown has Home Slice, which I don't want to. I mean, it's weird because like
just on record, NEB can't be like displaced. Like they're promoting no matter what.
Correct.
Because like at worst they end 5-2, and the only one who could match that is Muddy Water.
Yeah.
So it's they're technically done.
Correct. Yeah, you're not wrong there. And then we have so basically Utter Madness can take the week off, but I don't think they're going to.
Yeah, well, especially since no one in like the different tiers is playing playoffs. Like you obviously want to play it through because you're gonna have a long break.
Right.
But yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see how this pans out.
Right. And I know that Brave Nerds, Barktown, and Hoosier, I would say they're not getting promoted, but like I can't say they don't have anything to play for, because if you lose, you're getting relegated. Or you have a chance of being relegated. So here is going to be... It's going to be odd. I don't know what to make of Champion tier yet. But I know that it's... Like we saw last week with...
Hey, Callie.
Like we saw last week with Backstage beating Muddy Water and Hoosier upsetting Brave Nerds. Anything can happen, and... go from there.
Yeah, well, and it's one of those where the start that we got is not what we're getting by the end.
Yeah.
it's gone through the full shakeup, which is a sign of a healthy tier, actually.
Yeah, it is. I enjoy that as well. I like healthy tiers. They're nice. All right, let's do champion tier. Or sorry, not champion. Legendary tier.
Whatever the top one is.
Yeah, that one.
There is no promoting here.
Yeah, not yet. Actually, yeah, there is no promotion. You just gotta not finish last. Sorry, Copolis.
Not the bottom.
Yeah, sorry, Copolis. You're getting relegated champion. Anyway,
this one is a little awkward though, right? Because you have probably at least 2 teams, possibly 3, changing conferences after this, right?
Yes. Because you're gonna have 2 from the open playoffs, and then you got 2 that get promoted.
What?
And then 2 are getting...
No,
yeah.
I meant they're changing conferences because they're EMEA teams.
You're right.
We started at the whole. There is no promotion. Sorry, I'm calling out the LUEU and Sky Dragons, and then Acopolis I think was also not an NA team, right?
Correct. I think they're a LATAM team if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so you have one of the teams that is in like relegation ranks just straight up leaving. You have two of the teams playing each other this week. Sky Dragons playing Acopolis, who, yeah, it's hard to know how much they care because I don't have the inside scoop on how the transfer is going to work exactly. I assume they're just going to the top because they're already there, and that makes sense to me. But they're gone either way. It's gonna shake things up quite a bit. Just like have that many of the top teams just be out. Does that still mean that a team that is currently in what would be a relegation spot, like, do they get the forced move down like in Sylph? Because I feel like that was a thing even when there were spaces to fill. If there was a relegation role that you were like stuck in the lower tier, even if you would move up just by how many blank spaces there were.
Gosh, I see. Yeah, so that's
just my assumption going forward, is that is the rules we're playing by.
Yeah, the staff is going to have a lot of work to do, and I'm really glad I don't have to worry about it after. I only have to worry about referees and stuff. I'm going to hate myself so much. There
the fun thing is we have Deoxys Alberta Forum and Chicago Stars playing each other next week, so you have a there can only be one situation again, where someone is going to win the tier, and it's people who are staying. So that's pretty fun.
Okay, so I have to point this out because one person, I don't know if they listen or not, but they threatened with not listening. But I was gonna shout them out anyway because we had this weird little dynamic going on.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Yeah, pretty much. So firstly, I want to point out Rock Paper Slark once again defeated Sky Dragons, and they didn't have to give up free points this time. Secondly, J.K. Falk said, and I quote, "I really expect some shout out on this week's podcast, or I ain't listening." And as a joke, I said, "Well, what did you do that's worth like shouting out?" Or he goes, "I won, duh."
Duh.
And I was like, "Okay, you won, yay!" Were you the final bout? So I'm gonna go ahead and say in my headcanon, J.K. Falk, shout out to you for, it was 9-9, and then you won 2-1, and that made it 11-10, and Rock Paper Slark was able to win. And if it wasn't, I don't care. I really and truly don't care if that's not what happened. That's my headcanon. You can't make me change it.
So clearly this has been fixed somewhere along the line, but I looked at the Sharks and Wreck matchup just to like peruse, and in the very last slot, the second primordial slot, the scores like posted in the matchup are 1-3. So like apparently there was some kind of dispute there, but because it reads 12-9 now, but it's just like, okay, all right, not sure.
As long as the report score is accurate, I think we're okay with it.
Oh man, it gave me the question mark though.
It is quite a wild time. So JK, if you're listening, I know if you're listening, I just want you to know, congrats to you guys for winning. Also, your state is still mid.
A little bit of a backhanded shout out there.
He just said I expect some sort of shout. He didn't say I had to say good things.
Yeah, be careful what you wish for, I guess.
You missed, honestly, Jet, you missed it. I know some people have the general discussion chat muted for good reason. We had a fight over like which state was better. Like it was like Illinois, Texas, and one of the Carolinas. And so your state's so mid, you couldn't decide whether North or South was better, so you broke it up. Anyway. And it was just a wild time. I feel like I successfully defended the honor that was Texas during that match.
Do you feel good about it?
I do, actually. I really, really do. Let the record show that you can talk smack about whatever state you want, but you go after my Texas, I will come at you with the fury of 1,000 rattlesnakes holding Whataburger on a Sunday. Because Chick-fil-A is closed.
Well, I know we've done our best to kind of breeze through, but do you want to do just like a deep dive on J.K. Falk's matchup?
Sure, why not? Let's do it.
Since they like asked for it almost by name.
Yep. Okay. We're committed at this point. All right. So for the J.K. Falk matchup only, that's the only one worried. J.K. Falk, and actually, no, I'm not gonna do it. I was gonna like make a picture and like rearrange the thing, but no, it's fine. Okay. So J.K. Falk brings Lickitung, Shadow Drapion, Mandibuzz, Clefable, Galarian.
For the record.
Look, I said what I said. He brought Lickitung's daddy. Okay.
Oh no.
And Lucas brings Drapion, Skeledirge, Double, Galarian Weezing, Golisopod, and Licky. So in this instance, Annihilate was really, really strong into Double, Licky, and Drapion. Wait, no, it did neutral damage in Drapion, but the shadow damage would add up, wouldn't it?
Sorry, the shadow damage?
Sorry. The shadow... I don't want to call it like shadow weakness. Like the shadow part. If it takes like 10% extra or 20% extra damage. Would the counters add up on the Drapion? Or would it just be like...
Because it's Ultra League, it's worth like looking into, because I know some of these defy logic because you finally get enough that it matters.
Okay.
Also need to look. Do we think Aquatail?
Let's guess.
Probably not, since it needs. But like I would guess Sludge Bomb just because it's looking at a couple fairies.
All right, let's do one with Sludge Bomb and then one with Aquatail.
Turning into a Matrix.
Yeah. All right, so I was sort of right. So even with Annihilate running Night Slash, Drapion loses hard with Sludge Bomb, loses harder with Aquatail. And that's assuming that the debuff goes through. So we'll do with that.
Annihilate at least in the... Okay, well, I mean, it's just good to know anyway, but it's pretty safe just going straight Shadow Ball in that matchup.
And now I want to know... Okay, so Annihilate actually loses to Licky in the 0 and 1s, but wins in the 2s.
And that makes sense, right? Like, unless you go double nuke for the surprise factor and you just are packing close combat instead of your coverage move, which could work. Like you're looking at 2 normal types and then everything else you can, and we just said like even just straight Shadow Ball you can take on the Shadow Drapion, so it could
no
work.
You have to let in the Night Slashes. Sorry.
What are we talking about?
So, like, Annihilate going straight Shadow Ball into Drapion, I didn't run the Sims with that.
No, I did. I'm telling you.
Okay.
Yeah. So you could, like, this is one of those where you could make it work. Like, it probably, like, I assume it makes the Skeledirge worse just because even Disarming Voice is a problem because you're a fighting type. But... yeah, interesting setup if you go for the close combat, because that I assume flips Licky, right?
Yes, it very much does. I just tapped that a bit. Let me go tap right back into it.
You're fine. Let's see, what else is yelling at us?
Yeah, so it does flip the matchup if you... Actually... it flips the matchup completely. So the zeros and the ones, Annihilate wins with close combat, but in the twos, Annihilate gets its butt handed to it. But it's close. Like,
interesting.
they think you're so you're charging. Wait, why are you charging up? Or yeah, the Sims say that you're charging up past the back-to-back.
So yeah, it can also be like a Sims do weird stuff, right? Like,
I just
yeah,
that's what I'm gonna say.
Galissapod is a little awkward. Galarian Wheezing is fine for both. Or it's fairly neutral, right? Like,
okay, I finally found what makes it
keeping
work.
Skeledirge away from the dark types. Like,
okay, so I finally found what makes it work. So the battle matrix, it did some really weird things, but
it happens. But
yeah,
this is why we on our team we have some distrust of the Sims.
as our Ultra League, or as our Enchanted All-Star Jack has said, I don't believe in the Sims, I believe in the wins.
Or win the game.
You win by getting more points. So
anything else stand out to you in this matchup?
No, it did not. I think we spent too much time on that matchup. Like, Annihilate looks really good into this. Clefable. Clefable with the Meteor Mash for the Galarian Wheezing is an option. How do we feel about Air Slash Mandibuzz? For like the Galissapod and the Skeledirge matchup, just to make sure that Skeledirge is not allowed to play.
Well, I don't see how Air Slash would be relevant for Skeledirge.
Air Slash for Galissapod.
Yeah.
And then like Air Slash Foul Play for Skeledirge. Oh wait, Mandibuzz gets Aerial Ace, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then never mind. We can go back to Snarl.
Well, it's more of a I see Air Slash as helping the most when Snarl is resisted, right? So you're looking at like the Galarian Wheezing and the Drapion, and then Galissapod if you want more immediate pressure, I guess. But I think the big story is Skeledirge looks pretty good into the non-darks, so it then becomes a question of, okay, how do you handle the darks, right?
The only thing I can really see is Double with Double Kick, and I mean, you can chip it with, like, I know Double Kick doesn't give that much pressure, but like the Body Slam spam is mainly what I'm alluding to, and
sure. And
Galarian Wheezing with Fairy Wind Play Rough, insert nuke move here.
Yeah.
But Overheat hits everything on JK's side for neutral.
Yeah.
So I think in this situation it was Play Rough, Overheat, and then Clefable. Clefable could have been left on the bench with like Drapion, Skeledirge there. But that's getting a little bit too like gaming. I'm sure JK will listen to us and then give me this long like 6-page double spaced paragraph with
which is fine. I'm just saying, as far as on Lucas' side, it feels difficult to get away from that Galarian Wheezing Skeledirge pairing. So just on paper, like I'm leaning towards JK already. So
gotcha.
I'm glad he got the win.
I'm glad too, and you know we spent
or they.
That's true, yeah. But you know, JK. So there you go. There is our our wrap up, and we went full send on your shout out. So yeah, you better listen.
Be ready when you ask for these shout outs.
Yeah. The rest of y'all, if you have a matchup you want us to look at, it'd be very helpful if you sent us footage. Like, feel free to send it in, DM it to me, send me the YouTube link. We'll look at it. And
I don't mind doing the blind deep dive first, and then checking our work too is fun.
Yes, I like it too. Okay, legend tier off. There we go. Alrighty, so with all the tiers taken care of this week, with promotions and relegations, the thought bubbles kind of there, and whole teams know what they're playing for this week, we're going to take a very, very, very short break, but we'll be right back after these messages.
We'll be here.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, Battle Frontier competitors. With the Battle Frontier expanding to encompass all regions, Enter the Dragonair's Den is also expanding. We will be looking for some extra help to give each region the love that they so well deserve. We'll be looking for at least 2 hosts for a region in the APAC region, EMEA region, and LATAM region. If you are interested, please fill out the Google form or send a DM to myself, TacoDog8, who will then send you said Google form. Experience in podcasting is not necessary, so don't feel like you need it. Submissions will close Sunday, March 31st, 2024 at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. There will be a post in the Battle Frontier soon that will give you the local time. We can't wait to hear from you. And as always, keep your dragon fangs sharp. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that little commercial break, because I know I did.
It's always good to stretch.
Oh yes, definitely. Sitting and doing, in the same posture for hours, it hurts your legs. Get out, go do some stretches. People in the office might look at you funny, but you know what? You're the ones getting circulation and increasing productivity.
You're the boss of you.
Exactly. So I do just want to, before we get into the housekeeping part, I do want to just touch on a very special, part that I'm holding near and dear to ourselves. Just want to let everyone know we are expanding the Enter the Dragonair's Den family. We do have host openings for EMEA, LATAM, and APAC. If you are interested, please fill out the Google form that's going to be listed down in the show notes. If you're listening on Spotify, down in the description. If you're listening on YouTube, by the way, like, comment, subscribe, and do all that stuff for algorithms, things, or whatever. You're more than welcome to listen and come back. We appreciate you watching and listening. It really does mean the most.
I should make sure that I'm actually subscribed.
Where was I? Yes. So signups are done. Are going to be due by 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. I don't know what that is in your local time, but I'm sure the announcement in the Battle Frontier / the Enter the Dragonair's Den Discord that will also have a link to that you can join in the show notes and in the description. You're more welcome to join that as well. We'll have that open. We'll do answer it, be truthful, just be like, hey, I want to do LATAM, or I want to do EMEA, or I want to do APAC. You don't need experience to podcast. I'm going to be very honest with you. Jet and I weren't the best podcasters when we first started. You can listen back to our first episodes. We kind of just talked into a microphone, and now we still, just say ums and all this other stuff, but it comes with practice. So if you're really and truly thinking about doing it, even if it's just like a hunch, just apply. The worst we can do is tell you, you know what? We like you, but we're not going to take you. And yeah.
And yeah, if you've listened to any of kind of our harkening back, we started because we just wanted to shout out our friends. So if that is your motivation, it's totally valid.
I know that we have friends in APAC, EMEA, and LATAM that would absolutely love a shout out. And if you want to shout them out, and you have teammates who want to, apply. It's gonna be fine. But okay, so now that we've chilled that part of the episode, now we get to do the actual housekeeping stuff. So this podcast is powered by you, the viewer, the listener. Wherever you listen to your podcasts, we do have a Patreon that is also listed in the show notes / description down below. You can join for as little as $1. That gets you access to the Dragon Egg tier, which gets you a super secret chat, part of that is in the Discord, where you can hang out with other supporters of the show. Currently, we want to take this time to thank our Dragon Egg patrons, Trainer Thanks, ZT Smith, Sotiri, and DeFi250 for their amazing patronage at the Dragon Egg tier.
Do we need to amend Trainer Thanks to
Oh, you're right.
currently known as Thanks Obama?
That is true. Thank you for catching that. I gotta fix that. I'm gonna fix that right now.
Nice.
And we're not gonna wait 7 months this time. So yes, currently, Thanks Obama, no longer Trainer Thanks. So Thanks Obama, CT Smith, Sotiri, and DeFi250 for your amazing, awesome support to help us keep the digital lights on. It really does mean the most. We also do have a Baby Dragon tier that you can subscribe at. It's a little extra. It's about $5, and that part will get you access to the recording booth chat, where you are able to listen to us in real time. And, we'll also have the video part open as well, because Discord does Discord things. Currently, we want to shout out Reviving Ophelia and newest patron and supporter of the show, Herm13. I don't know too much about Herm other than he's a regular in the Pallet Town PvP server and was part of the Ultra League draft in that server. So now we have a bunch of Ultra League guys that are really itching to just, kind of fight each other in like a round robin style with like 6 people. So I'm all for it. Just let me know when y'all want to set it up.
I wanna say too, I feel like that is a league that really lives or dies based on who you know to scrim with, because it has some of the most niche builds, and it goes a long way just to know that you're with the people that also care about Ultra League.
Yes, and even though we do rub elbows and saying how much I dislike Ultra League because X, Y, and Z, I kind of come around on it. It's still my least favorite league because I've started to have some fun in the Master League. We'll get to that in a little bit. But Ultra League, they do have fans, and it is there. So, with that being said, I also do want to point out, we've talked about the Discord so much. We do have a Discord. That link is also down in the description / show notes. You can join there, read the rules, tap the taco, and you will get access to the rest of the Discord. Obviously not the Patreon sections, but we come in there, have some fun, throw some challenges out at each other, and just, it's kind of like factions, or not factions, but it's like the Battle Frontier, but everyone there's just there to hang out and have a good time and just vibe. Sometimes we'll host watch parties. Sometimes we'll host, other stuff and just talk about random things. Talk about your day. It's great. We also do have an X, or follow us on X / Twitter. We are at Dragonair Den. If you want to follow myself, I am at TacoDog8. But just to let you know, I do post memes about RuneScape, Formula 1, NASCAR, and of course Pokemon Go. So buyer beware. If you want just Pokemon Go news, follow Into the Dragonair's Den. I gotta fire our social media person. So because we haven't posted in like 2 weeks.
We should, yeah. Well, we had a little bit of a blip with the whole move update / meta update stuff, so we're getting back on track.
Yes, we are. So that being said, though, that is where you can follow us. And then
I'm in the Discord, and that's it.
Yep, Jet is only in the Discord, and if you want to talk to the legendary professor himself, he is available. But talk to him he'll talk to you when he's able to. We both need our sleep sometimes.
As interesting as our sleep schedules may be.
This is true. With that being said, however, it is now time we move on to the community engagement section, where this week everyone decided to just answer this question because I think it was a very, very open-ended question. So I love every single person that responded on so many different platforms that I have a triple monitor setup.
You got to consolidate,
and each one has its own comment pulled up. So
nice.
Last week we asked you, which Pokemon do you think are the biggest winners/losers of this meta? So first we're going to start with the Discord answers because they are plenty. Then we'll move on to Spotify, and then we'll move on to YouTube. So, starting with Discord. Moist, teammate of the show and friend of the show, Moist Donut, responded with evolved form of Rhyhorn. I'm not entirely sure that they got a meta update, a move update, but it's there. Ryblet goes first stage of Macargo.
I was sensing a theme at this point.
Yep. And then you responded with a surfing Rhydon as a GIF, which is great. Jack of Hearts put a GIF of a Goodra. And as you can probably tell, if we ask the question, people will answer however they see fit, be it picture, meme, GIF.
Well, and Goodra is a legitimate answer.
Yeah.
Aquatail actually makes a difference for Goodra.
It does, and now I kind of want to build a Great League Goodra.
Muddy Water, not a great move in Go?
No. It's not even a great move in the main series games. It just lowers accuracy.
Well,
or has a chance to lower accuracy.
It's a nice, like, almost surf clone, right? Like,
yeah,
it's good to be able to just spam out some heavy damage, not worry about power points.
Yeah, it's fair. Okay, so with that, the Naked Hornet responded with, Feraligatr went from being the laughingstock of water starters to actual viability. Hard to argue with its rise. Biggest losers are the people who shelled out trading for Bullet Seed Lileep.
Which, I mean, first of all, kudos if you even had one, because that thing was a myth as far as I'm concerned.
Same.
But yeah, that I'm going to turn that into a everyone wins if they were holding out a hope for that build, because those changes kind of came out of nowhere. That was not one that I would have put any money on.
Yeah, you're not wrong, honestly. And kind of looking back at it, I didn't know that, unobtainable moves were they were going to move towards it. And then there was a discussion in the rest of it with Ryblet and Philo. They said Philo specifically said Shadow Claw specifically helps a lot of things. Because Ryblet had brought up the fact that same thing happened to Coffin back in the day when it got Shadow Claw. And it kind of got us all thinking, there's a lot of things that are one move away from being viable. Now, if only Flygon could get pre-nerf Breaking Swipe, that'll be the day.
Flygon needs more help than that.
I know. Don't rub it in, Jack. Allegedly, Flygon's supposed to be getting Omega in Legends ZA. Or Zeta Alpha? I don't know what they're calling it.
Again, we like that one is hard to comment on because I feel like that's a lot of people jumping at possibilities again still, because we have a teaser that could have nothing to do with the game that we get at this point, because there is no game there. There is a lot of variability even just within the sphere of the thing being made. So it's like they've essentially told us the city it's based in and promised nothing else. They have some models in there for a few of the flashy favorite Pokemon that we're gonna make it in anyway. So I don't know how much to give the potential for new megas.
Well, they made a teaser about the mega in the trailer, and so a lot of people are like, "Oh, megas are back! Oh my gosh, yay!" So that could be, Pokemon are going to be getting new mega forms first. Obviously,
to me, that's the jump, right? Is going from, oh, we're bringing back mega as like a gimmick to there will be new megas. We'll see.
I would say, well, when you look at it that way, I go, if you're going to tease megas, like in general, wouldn't the biggest selling point of the mega evolution mechanic be new mega Pokemon?
No, the biggest selling point of megas is that they're coming back, period, because they haven't done that with a gimmick yet.
Please don't bring Zemus back.
Well,
Please.
Now it's possible.
God. Okay. I can only imagine when it's like 2047 and we get like a Legends game based in Paldea and we get to fight the actual like treasures of ruin Pokemon before we're tasked with sealing them away. But that's like 20 years from now, so it's fine.
I hope we have gotten to a point where they don't have to be their own archetype, but we'll see, I guess.
Gotcha. Alrighty, so moving over to the Spotify answers. Here we go. So now I'm gonna just move over to the screen. So the first answer we got was from some numbers on Spotify, which I know Spotify usually has this thing where if you stay signed in for like too long of a time or whatever, it'll change your name from what your actual name is on Spotify to like a bunch of random numbers. It happened to myself. So the numbers 126960863.
Got some spaghetti code working over there too.
Yep.
Nice.
They stated, I'll try not to drag on, but I really enjoy the Aquatail buff for Goodra, especially in the Primordial Cup.
It's funny because it's a dragon.
I still can't. When I played Gen 6 for the first time and I saw what Goomy looked like, and they're like, that's your pseudo-legendary for Gen 6, I go, why?
It is not ferocious looking.
Its Hisuian form looks cool, I guess.
It is, despite being a actual snail, it is somehow more intimidating.
Alrighty, and then our second answer on Spotify was from Christina Battles. They put Cresselia honestly. I don't know if I agree with that sentiment.
What are you struggling with?
So, Cresselia is a pure psychic type.
Yeah.
And with Feraligatr and Empoleon specifically, I'm going to pick on those two for a second. Getting, Empoleon got Steel Wing, Feraligatr got Shadow Claw. Wouldn't that hurt Cresselia from coming into from being able to shine in certain areas, or would it still be able to outbulk both those two mons because of Grass Knot?
Yeah, so it's a matter of being that pseudo grass, and like you're saying, just the bulk still puts it in a spot where you can deal with the Feraligatr, the Empoleon.
Okay.
And I feel like it really does that job well in Ultra League, because you can kind of double down on both of all three of them are relevant in both leagues, and just like that that bulk kind of comes to fruition even more in Ultra, whereas in Great League it's something you can overcome sometimes, right? But just all things equal, it does make Caress an even better safe swap or response Pokemon.
Okay. So with that, I guess with that being said, would Cresselia become an even better safe swap? Because because like you said, it's incredibly bulky. But I think like it would still kind of be in contention with Lickitung to be like
Yeah,
to be
well,
like the premier
and so
case
like
swapper.
one of then the other advantages of having Feraligatr usage up is you're gonna see a few less Skeledirge for just like a single example, and so that is creating more room for Crest specifically, where the Lickitung matchup is like kind of awkward with Skeledirge in particular, just because you can still do okay even though like all the charge moves are resisted, but Crest in particular, like I know there's a good number just going for Future Sight now, but historically, especially Great League, like the Grassknot Moonblast has more room because Feraligatr is kind of pushing out even what you would consider the niche fire types.
Gotcha. Okay. Is Feraligatr really that oppressive though?
It is a lot of damage.
Okay.
And anytime it has a chance to actually tank some moves because it is such a glass cannon, like that becomes a really dangerous scenario, right? Like or even just put yourself in a farm down situation. Like obviously there's some stuff that Shadowclaw is just never gonna farm down. Looking like we're talking about Lickitung, like that's one that is not gonna go well. But when you're looking at something like a Skeledirge, like you might not even take whatever the second or the third incinerate damage because you get that full farm down and get to leave with a move.
Gotcha. Well, alrighty then. So that's a nice thought.
I think Crest is a good call out. The other one that gives Crest problems no matter what moveset it is Skarm, and I don't know that there was anything that gives Skarm more problems like after this update. I mean, you can correct me if you feel like there's anything that has popped up to give Skarm more reasons to stay on the bench, but
I can't find one. Like, just by looking at it, I can't find one with... I know Lantern is still always going to be a threat.
Yeah. And so maybe that's like part of the new, like, adjusted triangle, right? Is you have the Lantern, Skarm, Crest triangle.
Ew. I don't think I want to hear that, but it might happen. We'll find out soon enough in Vancouver this weekend.
Plus, the all too familiar ground types at this point.
Yes, can't forget about those.
Thrown in for good measure, just to kind of sit in the middle.
Yeah. All right. So, with that, now we go to our YouTube comment. Thankfully, we got one from Mr. Purple. Mr. Purple says, Drapion is a pretty nasty safe swap in Primordial. It can throw out so many Aqua Tails. +5 damage buff is very much impactful. Yes.
Yeah.
As if you needed another reason to get the quote-unquote shadow form of a... Neat.
Well, and especially looking at the Great League meta where Drapion is viable is... Yeah, those little damage changes are more relevant than the Ultra League.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it still adds up over time in Ultra League, but it makes a bigger dent when the health pools are sometimes like half the size.
Yeah. That's on the scarier side.
And then yeah, like we've talked about, especially in Battle Frontier, when you're up against a Pokemon with 3-move syndrome and you don't know what the third is for sure yet, that's when you got to make some calls.
Yeah, that's when all bets are off and you just gotta go full send, honestly. Well, alrighty then. So that is our community engagement section last week. This week's community engagement section is now that we've had, what is it? It's almost 2 months with this meta. So for some of us, it's going to be 2+ months. What are your thoughts on the metas? Did you love them? Did you hate them? Was Primordial your favorite? Was Serene your favorite?
Just to clarify, we're talking about the Battle Frontier metas now.
Oh yes, absolutely. we're still on the topic of the Battle Frontiers, so we don't talk about the cups that Niantic gives out because.
Well, I'm just saying we were talking about the metas, or quote unquote the meta from the move changes in our last question, and now this one is kind of a retrospective, coming down to the end of the cycle. How did you like the metas this round?
What he said.
It's a team effort.
Yeah. So, with that question in mind, please feel free to answer on Discord, Spotify, YouTube, when this episode goes live. I will read all the comments and I will put them up on my nice little monitor across the way. So, it is now time that we move into our Play Pokemon segment. And so I do want to point out that if you are in the Iowa City, Iowa area on March the 30th, 2024, there's going to be a League Cup at Critical Hit Games in Iowa City. If you're not capped out on cup wins and points, come on down. First prize is 50 points. Everybody loves championship points to try to get to Hawaii. We are kind of hitting towards the bottom half of it. Registration will be from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, and team sheets will be provided there. If you need a list of the banned Pokemon, they are going to be listed on the Play Pokemon website. It's mainly Galarian Birds, Skidoo, Go-Goat, and then Pokemon with unobtainable fast move, like the Acid Muck family, such and such, yada yada yada.
Moves that they shouldn't have had.
Exactly. I am going to be competing and looking to finally win a League Cup.
Go for gold.
I've gotten I think 3 second places.
Yeah, it's about that time.
I do have, let's see, the first League Cup that we ever got, the TCG player won. The second League Cup we ever had, Home Slice Henry won. And so this time, I'm going to beat Home Slice Henry.
For sure.
I can win league challenges. I just can't win the League Cups.
Well, I have some good news. Because
I'm listening.
I learned that we have I actually don't know if it's a cup or a challenge, but we have officially a tournament being hosted in San Diego this Saturday, which I realize it'll be too late for people wanting to know that, but I'm just recognizing and being thankful that one of the hosts that used to host our Sylph tournaments and hosted regionals a few times is now hosting in-person Play Pokemon tournaments.
Ooh, we all start somewhere. And
yeah, I'm glad that they got whatever push they needed to make some space for us.
There's a little bit of some stuff that has to be done. I know that the professorship is one of them.
Yeah,
and it does take time. I will say that. So good on them for passing the tests, and now they are able to take part in tournaments or host the tournaments. They just can't take part in them anymore. Which is partially one of the reasons why I don't want to get my professorship yet, because I really like competing.
You don't want to be stuck on the staff side.
It would be a lot of fun to staff them, but I really want to battle as well. So I think if I don't win, so next season, because the season ends at NAIC. In 2025, the season for that, I'm going to hit the ground running as hard as I can. And if I don't qualify for Worlds, I will retire and be a staff member.
Would you consider then playing more of the in-person events for the video game?
Yes.
Which I feel like that's a nice trade-off, right? Is you can kind of just change focus and help your community in a new way while still getting the competitive itch.
Yeah, I'm just a very hyper competitive player.
Yeah.
I will do things out of spite if it means I
Yeah, I think if you're here, especially playing any of the team format stuff, you have the competition in your blood.
Alrighty. So the Play Pokemon segment also had another update to rules, in addition to the ones that we had talked about last week. So we had if a new Pokemon gets released, it becomes legal the Tuesday after it gets released. So take that for what it will. Now there
I was like, we talked about that one, right?
We did.
Okay.
Now there was another update where they've kind of taken all the rule changes updates and they've put them on a nice little website.
Nice.
So I would say they've kind of updated the web pages on Play Pokemon. So there's not like, I gotta go here and then follow this link and go this way and that way and here's the information.
Yeah, you don't need like an active Twitter feed window open just to like know the rule changes. I like when they have a place where all of those changes land just automatically, and I'm glad they caught up on that.
Yeah, same here. So that's our Play Pokemon segment. Best of luck to everybody battling in Vancouver. Xiao, excuse me. We're gonna hope that both of y'all do not meet in pools. We hope you all meet in the grand finals or in day 2. Wish you both the best of luck, and you're gonna make us proud because both of y'all make us proud every day.
Yeah, like play in different brackets for once.
Alrighty, so with that, we're gonna move on to the salsa bar / where's the bacon. So I have a salsa bar this week, actually.
All right, what happened?
Okay, so for a bit of some context, my bike was out of commission for about a month because I ripped the tire up pretty badly. My wife decided to surprise me. Took the bike to the bike shop. It got brand new tires. It got brand new rims. It's pretty much just a new bike at this point. I love it. Oh, and new brakes. So we get home, or if we pick it up, she pays for it. I'm like as giddy as a freaking little schoolgirl, like, oh my god, I got a bike, yay! And she tells me, well, do you want to ride it home? Because I'm just going to beat you home. I said, no, you're not. And she goes, you want to bet? I was like, yeah, I'll beat you home. She's like, no, you're not. You're not going to beat me. I said, woman, it is rush hour traffic here. It is Friday. And it is spring break is starting. I'm going to beat you. Or it's the end of spring break. I'm going to beat you. She goes, put your money where your mouth is. So before she could even get to the car, I took off going as fast as I can. I was hauling. She pulls up alongside me, like we're about a block away, and I decided that, you know what? I'm a car today. So I just like blocked her in on both sides, or I blocked her in on the street and didn't let her pass like left or right. I beat her home, but I started wheezing so much that like I had trouble breathing because of my asthma decided to flare up. And
I was gonna say, were we laughing or were we courting death?
we were very much courting death.
Oh no.
And then she goes, "Did you really just did this so you could beat me?" I said, "Look, I won the battle. Don't tell me that I can't do something because I'm gonna do it out of spite." Hence, we go back to the hyper competitiveness that is myself.
Yeah.
All right, so that was my salsa bar. What do you got for us, Jet? What's your worst?
I just have our, weekly for how many weeks it takes to find this bacon. We got our count update. We had some, I guess seasonally appropriate but locally weird weather. It was partly cloudy most of the week. And so we got a fair few pig encounters, and we're up to 1594 now.
Woo!
Yep.
That's going on the wall of shame.
I actually hope that I can kind of continue that rate even without the weather boost, but we'll see. Like, obviously it'll be less interesting if I get less than that many encounters or whatever, but like still rolling.
Right.
Every time I was like, hey, this could be the nope.
Nope.
We could be done. We could move on.
What I'm gonna go ahead and say a number, and that's gonna be the number that you get it at. So, taking it to the 1,594 that you're at, you are gonna get your shiny at 1,648.
So you're betting only 50 more encounters.
50 more encounters. You got
Okay.
this.
Well, when I see you next week with 100 more encounters, I actually thought you were gonna say like something 1,800 or so that we had a few more rounds. But
No, I'm gonna say so. Best case scenario, it's gonna be 50 more encounters. Worst case scenario, it's gonna be 2147.
somewhere in the range,
Yes.
50
There,
to 600.
I gave you a range.
Good. All right.
So
let's not beat that, or let's like get 5 encounters. That's also fine.
that's fair. That's true. All right. So let us move on into our achievement section. And boy howdy, I'm a very proud local right now. One of our locals, when the leaderboards came out on March the 14th, made it all the way to number 2.
That's pretty awesome.
I'm not going to tell you how many battles they did because they've done about 50 more than whoever's number 1. But just the fact that you're on the leaderboards and you're like on the first page and you're in the top 5 or top 3, that's incredible.
Yeah, especially when there's so much jockeying like early in the season just to climb it all. That's nice.
And then I mean, you alluded to this earlier, but you got the Shundo Litten.
I sure did. Just a random catch, and it has never happened on a community day before, so I was pretty stoked on that, where it was one of those like, oh cool, got a shiny Litten or whatever, finish catching it. It's a hundo. So, I mean, it got to be fun because like we've pointed out hundos for people before, but it was always like the other way around, right? Where it's just like, oh, anyone that's here can check it now for the shundo, and gotten to celebrate people when they did that, and just to have it be the full opposite experience was cool.
Well, you also got another Shundo.
I sure did.
You got 2 Shundos in 2 days.
Which actually only ties my old record because I had 2. One was the actual lucky trade, and the other was just a random trade where they both went Shundo. Like I got my very first Shundo, and then 2 days later got my second. So that one, yeah. So I got a Volby, and that one was a lucky trade. So that was fun.
I'm very jealous of you.
It's also my first Hundo Volby, which I've wanted for a long time, so I could build my Ultra League Mandibuzz.
Excuse me.
So I'm looking forward to running that when Ultra comes back.
I'm very jealous of that, honestly.
Obviously, it won't be best buddied at that point, but it'll be chugging right along, being the flying tank that it is.
That's fair. Not with that attitude, by the way, but
I do a lot of buddy stuff, but I don't do any of like the hyper accelerated like
I don't know how to do that, so I'm just not gonna
20 hearts on anything kind of stuff where it's just like I get about 6 on the stuff that's actually in my rotation each day.
That's fair. Alrighty, so let us now move on into the GBL progress. Yay! Do you have your elo?
Oh yeah, I had my Elo before, and I was
Okay.
joking because I haven't played really since I got it. I think I played maybe one more set of Ultra, and then didn't. And then when you were streaming Master League, I was like, wait a minute, I don't get the opportunity to snipe Taco very often. I was very tempted, but I think I mentioned last time I have a bunch of stuff that I need to like make the jump from 40 to 50 for Master League, and so I kind of need to plan that out a little bit more.
And that's fair. I mean, yeah, you got the cat out of the bag. I was gonna leap at that one. I tried Master League for the first time on a stream. We did 25 battles, the whole 5 sets, and we went 12 and 13 with just a Mewtwo, Origin Palkia, Ho-Oh.
How did you like it?
It's a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie. It is absolutely, positively a lot of fun.
And how would you describe the experience?
You know, once you got over that hurdle of get the Pokemon to level 50, you're it's good. It's very good. I now have.
Did you feel like you could compete even though?
No, I did not.
What was the most annoying Pokemon for you to deal with?
Shoot, Zygarde complete.
Fair. I've heard that quite a bit. I've heard the Solgaleo Zygarde combo.
Solgaleo was so easy to handle because every time they'd be like, "Go Solgaleo," I'd be like, "All right, well that's your last one. Go Ho-Oh."
Yep. Well, and if you have an exact response, that does make your life a lot easier. But I just mean in general, like that duo gets talked about quite a bit.
Yeah, I think I might have made a mistake in powering up my Origin Palkia form instead of Dialga, but I almost have enough I think I almost have enough candy for, or not candy, Stardust for Dialga.
Whatever your limiting factor was. Oh, I guess I can talk about that too, since we kind of skipped over it. I was glad that Lytton Community Day happened during the weather week, because it was kind of we get all the bonuses situation, because it was double Stardust for catches just because of the weekly bonus, and then everyone was happy because you got dust or XP depending on which one you're focusing on.
Yeah, I saw that and I was very happy. I had 23,000 Stardust and now I have close to 500,000 Stardust.
Nice.
So
yeah, that's almost another Master League mon.
And I'm 50,000 Stardust short of Dialga Origin form.
Totally doable.
Very much so. There's an Auto-Nose nesting. There's an Auto-Nose nest somewhere in town, but the event has ended, so now we have to find it.
Yeah, well, and then tomorrow is probably a turnover, right, for nests?
No, next week.
No, next week? Okay. Yeah. Well, that's good to know. You can tell how much I do nest stuff anymore, because I don't even know if we're on a Switch week or not. But like, I also know it gets jumbled up in the.
Yeah, I don't like the event screwing with it, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, Katie, then. So that is a show. Honestly, great episode. We did everything awesomely.
We're caught up and ready for final standings for a lot of people.
Yeah, final standings, playoffs. It's gonna take some brainstorming to see how we're gonna put it all together. But I have faith that we'll do a great job.
Yeah, we might have to really dedicate to the rapid fire next time, so we can get some of our deep dives in, because I feel like that's been missing. But It was fun to have an excuse to really go in after one particular matchup.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Also, when we have the metadata at the end, that'll also be a good comparison point.
I wonder if IHSB and Zephyros will be wanting to come back for their retrospectives as well. I think it'd be pretty cool. Maybe get MJ in. Oh, definitely. I mean, I would want to bring MJ on for the playoffs. Or at the end of the playoffs, I'd want to bring him on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The full wrap up.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okie dokie. So, from all of us here at the Enter the Dragonair's Den studio, we want you all to always remember, keep those dragon fangs sharp. You can beat those ice types with Aqua Tail now. Stay away from those fairy types because they're not cool. They just want to take your lunch money. And until next time, we will see you all in our next episode. Bye-bye.
Yeah, watch out for that mischief.